Hey guys, hey gals, welcome to another video on my channel where we talk about event rentals. My name is Les, and before we get into this, today's topic is about money. Uh, money doesn't buy happiness, but how important is it? Everything that goes on in business has to do with money, 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 and how to price things, how much can I make. That's the whole point of this business. So today we're going to be talking about how to price your inventory. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I urge you to hit that subscribe button, especially if you're in the event planning, event rental, business rental industry. I welcome you to join me and in my channel, and we're going to definitely talk about a lot of things now and in the future. So welcome to my place here, and let's get right into it. So when I first started to get into event rentals, I was like, well, what should I price these things at? We first started with tables, tents, and then shortly afterwards, we got into chairs. From there, it just expanded into dozens, if almost not, hundreds of items. And, I would look at the competition and I'd go like, why are these people charging $150 for this like barrel bar top table? I can make that for that price. And a better example is pop-up canopies. I was like, my competition is charging $225 to rent out a pop-up canopy when I can buy it for $264. Now, it was a little bit deceiving because the $264, and that's what we were buying them for before, was kind of the lowest quality tier. The competition had the highest quality tier, which is close to $1,000. Furthermore, and I'm now going into like the details of this one item, which is good, which is a good way to kind of present to you this topic, really talking about specifics on each items, but we'll go out of those specifics and kind of talk about the generalities as well a little bit. But my competition was buying sort of the highest tier quality. Furthermore, for the pop-up tents, it's really a temporary structure composed of thin trusses. Even the higher quality tents, they're still thin trusses. Things break quite often. Sometimes the tent, the client just throws it down into the mud. The tent needs to be replaced. And that all takes time, that takes effort, that takes categorizing, sorry. It takes checking, it takes cleaning, you do little fixes. And it's something that needs to be replaced after a dozen rentals or so. Perhaps more. If you have the highest quality one, it could last you much more. But for us, the lower quality one, if we're lucky, we get a dozen uses out before we either have to replace the top because it's just too dirty, or the entire frame needs to be scrapped, or at least a lot of the trusses and the parts have to be replaced. It doesn't last that long. So when we first got into it, we had the lower quality ones, and I was always shocked. Why are they charging so much? And as I got experience, I realized why. Because there's a lot of labor involved in the product. The cost, it's not about your return on investment. It's about storage, how long it's going to take to clean the tent, to set up the tent, to work with the tent, to store the tent, to fix the tent, to replace the tent, all these things, which really are, I would argue a labor issue, which is why people price it fairly high, almost at the cost of the purchase price, especially if you're buying them in kind of like the lower quality. Now, the lower quality isn't isn't necessarily the worst thing. Just make sure you know the client. The important thing is the client is satisfied, and you know you're making profit out of your object over time as you get more money. Certainly, you will be able to buy the more expensive ones, and those might work better for you. You just kind of, you know, crunch numbers and see. Now let's get into another example. Chairs. We bought our chairs initially used for, what was it, like $5.50, $6, something around there per chair. And then we invested a few dollars, probably like $1 or $2 per chair, like on the whole, to actually repaint the chairs. Now we did that manually. It takes an incredible amount of work to repaint chairs manually with cans. But hey, we started in the garage. Today, of course, we're not in the garage, but that's where we started. And sometimes in the garage, you gotta do what you gotta do. And it's okay, because 50 chairs painted via cans, you know, it's not the end of the world. When it's 500 or 5,000 chairs, then you're getting into the nearly impossible realm. You gotta do something else. Just spraying them here and there with cans is not gonna save you. But for chairs we buy for, this is the regular folding chair. We buy, for example, for $15. And we rent it out for around $1.50. So you're getting your money back in about 10 rentals. But chairs last a very long time. And generally speaking, especially the non-white ones, the maintenance costs are fairly low. They don't have to be cleaned absolutely every time, although certainly these days, as everybody's aware, it is May 2020. Everybody knows right now what's going on, but perhaps the future you doesn't. So now we definitely have ramped up our cleaning systems. Although in the past, it's not necessarily, you know, chairs come back. During the busy summer, they would just go out again. These are for the regular folding chairs. Yeah, so the cleaning wasn't that intensive. It's quite quick. You can either use a pressure washer, and then for the kind of worser stains, really to get into the deep cleaning, Magic Eraser was always fantastic. There's also chair cleaners, but that's for kind of the higher level companies that can afford them, and they have the space to utilize them and the water, etc. Let's get into other items. For example, right behind me, there is the photo booth that we have. Actually, we have a couple of them. We have like a smaller mail-out version, and which is really neat. The thing with photo booths is that we didn't want to really send a guy out for 4 or 5 hours. They have to drive out. They're driving the vehicle. There's kind of slight amount of risk there. Obviously, they're normally driving around doing deliveries as well, but we wanted it to be really quick. So the customer comes, grabs this, and goes out. So we actually really undercharged for that because we have a different approach. Most photo booth systems, you know, you send someone out and then, yeah, you're making much more money, but you're also taking a lot of time and tying up either yourself or an employee there, where, you know, if we had an employee or two working on a tent or 3 or 4 tents, larger tents, 10 setups per day, they're generating more sales than if they were sort of at a party watching a photo booth, which is why we decided we're not going to be doing live photo booth. I don't even know what it's called, like stand arounds. They're just, you know, if you want a photo booth, you can come and grab it. We have instructions, we have videos, we do a 10-minute quick tutorial to show you how to use it, and off you go. And so you're paying weekday, if it's between Monday and Thursday, you're paying only $150, and then if it's Saturday, Sunday, Friday, I think it's like $229 right now. So it's much less. And if you want a backdrop, if you want props, if you want a table, if you want cords, that's all extra. So sometimes clients end up paying $250, $260 for their photo booth. And, you know, it's still a decent amount of money, and it takes 10 minutes, 15 minutes of our time, and we can go to other things. And the idea is to do that, you know, to have 10 photo booths eventually, And, if you can invest 2 hours with 10 photo booths, you're making more than if you have to send out all these people. And yes, okay, you're getting $4.99 or whatever the case is for 5-6 hours. But at the end of the day, we want to be pushing things out and saving time. That's kind of what I decided needs to happen in order to kind of think about scaling for the future. So anyways, that's the price of our photo booth. The photo booth, in fact, is kind of a random thing to talk about because it's not like our main line of income, although it is quite popular. After we made them, they have become quite popular. But let's get into tables. Tables are similar to chairs in the sense that, they do need to be wiped down, but they really don't need that much sort of maintenance. They last much longer. They store easier. It's hard to kind of really break them. So, you're not renting them out near their selling value. It's much less. We do our round 5-foot diameter tables for $12, our 8-foot rectangular tables for $10, and our 6-foot tables, which are cheapest in town, but a lot of people go for these because they can just drive up and pick up a few, are $7.65. Although we might up that price just a little bit in the future because I think most places charge $8-9 here for the 6-foot tables. But so that's an example of those, and really, yeah, like they're a great item because it really isn't a high maintenance thing. People can grab and go. You can transport quite a few. You can put them on carts. You can put a few on dollies, although carts are better, and you can kind of make a cart or customize a cart to specifically hold a certain amount or whatnot. But certainly that's kind of the price for those. Another example of kind of something that's closer to the rental charge is closer to the buying out charge is tablecloths. You really are cleaning them, ironing them, folding them, storing them, covering them. I mean, did I mention washing? I don't even know if I mentioned washing, but they take an incredible amount of work. And so you really do want to be renting them out for, just consider that before renting them out. There's a company here that rents them out for like an 8-foot banquet tablecloth. They rent it out for sorry, there was something on my screen there. They rent it out for like $25, and I'm like, oh, that's ridiculous. But just consider how quickly they get damaged, and which I didn't mention earlier, and just the amount of sheer labor involved. What I do is I just have someone do most, if not all, of the work in regards to the tablecloths. So I bring them to like a linen cleaning place, and that linen cleaning place also processes them however I like them. So they will put them on a hanger, they'll cover them. Now that'll cost a bit of extra, but at least my time is not being completely kind of involved in that area. And in fact, because that's all they do, the price isn't bad, and it ends up really working versus if you wanted to do everything in-house. Perhaps, I mean, there are a lot of companies that do things in-house, but for us, we found a Filipino guy who does it for like $3 or $4 per tablecloth, which is absolutely fantastic. And in that regard, we can definitely make money on it. It just takes a little bit of time to dry there, drop it off, and come back. But at the end of the day, it ends up working for us. So guys and gals, those are just a couple examples of, we can really go into this for a long, long time. And maybe we should, of how to price your rental items. Hopefully that helped a little bit. Take it easy, guys. See you later.